Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. Good to see you all introducing yourselves in the chat. If you hadn't already, just click the chat button, but make sure it's set to all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see who you are and who's joining us today. So for those of you that don't know myself, my name's Lauren Bell, Business Liaison Officer at Wanneroo Business Association, and it's always great to have Dean and the guys at District32 join us, if not for a little bit of banter that we always get, but for some good knowledge that you can put into your business. Before I do hand over to Dean, there's a few features of the platform I want to make you aware of. I know that a lot of you will have used Zoom quite a lot over the last few weeks, but in case it's your first time or you're not quite sure, just wanted to let you know about the chat button, which you'll see messages coming through from everyone at the moment. We have a Q&A button, so if you've got a question that comes up throughout Dean's presentation, hit the Q&A button, which is at the bottom of your screen. Post your question in there, and then at the end I'll facilitate those for Dean to answer. And we will also be kicking off at the start of the presentation with a poll, so make sure you answer the questions so that Dean can gauge where you're all at in terms of lead generation. So before I hand over, Dean, we have had a few requests to speak slowly.
Yeah.
We've got a Pom and an Irishman delivering a webinar in Australia, so you might have to bear with us with the accents and the difference in nationality and how we sound, but the knowledge is still the same, and Dean's a knowledgeable guy, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. Dean, I'll hand over to you.
Brilliant stuff. What I'll do is I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, so if I talk too fast, just scream on the chat, folks. Okay, so I probably know a good lot of you through WBA and District32, but just a bit of background on myself. So I've touching 3 decades now in business development and sales. So I've worked in the corporate world, worked with SMEs, with sole traders. I've built sales teams from 5 up to 35. So 30 years basically background in sales, business development and lead generation. So I've got the emotional scars from it all, and a few t-shirts at this stage. So we'll kick on. So how to generate leads in a downturn. So what I've done is I've taken most of the content from the grounds up sales lead generator initiative with District32. So the idea behind it is that we're looking at lead generations in a direct manner where there's no budget involved. It's not digital, and it's not because I'm not against digital, because we use digital as well, but it's just purely from a direct format. So we're going to do a poll straight away. So Lauren's going to press the magic button, and again, this is anonymous, folks. So give your true answers. And what I'll do is I've done these polls even pre-digital, so it'll be interesting to see how this compares versus previous ones that I've done as well. So again, it's, do you enjoy sales, business development? Do you get up in the morning and go, yeah, I need to get some business development, sales, lead generation done? Do you have a definitive sales plan for 2020? So when you kickstart 2020, did you have a documented plan for the year? And what does your pipeline look like at the moment from your activities, say, particularly since, we'll say, January up to date? So again, take 30 seconds there and submit your answers. Again, as I said, it's anonymous. Nobody either side of the keyboard will know the answers. So give you another 10 seconds before Lauren presses the end button, and Lauren will share the results then as well. Okay, you're on a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And go.
Being a bit strict. They're still voting. I can see them coming in,
but
we'll end it there.
Right.
If you haven't, but we'll give it an end.
Okay.
So coming out top on the first question, do you enjoy sales and business development? 43% of attendees sometimes enjoy it.
Yeah.
Closely followed by 33% that love it, which is good.
Yeah.
14% rarely, and 10% never.
Okay.
The definitive sales plan, 52% have a fairly ad hoc sales plan.
Right. And can you share those results? Is that possible to share on the screen? Brilliant. So have a quick look at those results. So I mean, that's really positive that 33% actually love sales. So hopefully we have a lot of BDMs on the line. And again, it's not uncommon for people to do anything but sales. They'll even wash the floor in the office rather than doing sales. So that's a really positive result. Do you have a definitive sales plan? Well documented at 10%. But you can kind of see for 90% plus, there's not a documented sales plan, and that's actually quite normal. Someone shared with me a while ago the results for WA is at 6%, and a survey that we did in District 32 at 2 years was at 5%. So those results were actually quite good. So well done on that. So what does your sales pipeline look at? So again, we're looking at 10% that's superb, and then outside that, we say 90% it's from warm leads to average to non-existent. So again, those results are actually fairly accurate to anything I've done outside of a downturn as well. So well done, and I appreciate all the honesty as well on that. So it gives you an idea as well where your fellow kind of business owners are at as well with those results. So what is the secret to being successful in lead generation through your sales and business activity? So I'm just going to touch on a few very quickly, so I'm conscious of time. So showing up, for me, it's the #1 key one. Again, you got to have that plan of where are you going to show up. So is it your networking? Is it your one-to-ones? Is it your sales calls? Is it proactive stuff you're doing online? Is your email marketing? So it's important that you show up day in, day out, week in, week out as well. Sounds like a really obvious one. Be nice. Again, trust forms really quickly by just being your authentic self. So just be yourself and be nice. It's just a really great way of building trust so quickly. Whereas sometimes when people get involved in sales, they try to be somebody else. But just be yourself and be authentic. And know your stuff. Again, this sounds like something that should be just automatic, but be surprised. You should know your frequently asked questions, know your product, your service, and maybe what's happening in your industry, because it will come up in conversations depending on who you're talking to as well. This is a really key one: planning and a system. So again, the way we kickstarted 2020, and we had goals. So that could have been, I want to do 500,000 this year, I want to do 1 million, I want to do 5 million, whatever that figure is. And I mean, that's all really good, but it's really important that you have a plan and a system behind it. So what is the plan in terms of your activity, in terms of the touch points? And I'll touch on some of that stuff later on to get you closer to that target that you're looking to reach. Consistency, it's like any aspect of business, whether it's in operationals or it's in the financials. Being consistent is so important. So what I generally say to people as they're starting lead generation, sales, or business development is put time in your diary. So that's non-negotiable. It's in your diary every week, and they're the activities that you're going to do week in, week out, because it's the only way you're actually going to build a pipeline and get consistent. So always be prospecting. There was a film out in the 80s, Glen Ross. It was Always Be Closing. It's a bit of a brutal film, if anyone's familiar with it, but always be prospecting. Again, what we're looking to do is build that pipeline. Again, that image of a pipeline, I actually visually see that every day. So my goal in terms of business development, lead generation every day is to get as much as I can into the top end of that in terms of building leads. So that comes through various activities. So for me, it's probably through networking, one-to-ones, and over the phone largely for me over recent times. So again, what we're looking to do is build that pipeline, and how you nurture them down to prospects and customers is through touch points. But those touch points could be anything from connecting on LinkedIn, could be inviting them to an event, could be sending them a gift, a birthday card, or any way they see your brand, even online, is a touch point. But again, as I touched on earlier, it's really vital that you have a plan and a system in place. I mean, if you think of it, a lot of us do networking as an example. We meet someone, let's say at the WBA Sundowner, and it's been a good conversation. But where does it go after that? You've actually done the hard work, established the relationship. So how do you nurture that particular potential prospect down the pipeline to be a customer? So it's important that you have that system in place. So we're talking about lead generation. So I mean, through the direct method. So there's so many. There's probably about 15 I could name, and I'll touch on them near the end just to give a flavour. But what I'm going to do is just focus on 3 today, because obviously time limitations. Networking events being an obvious one, obviously with Wanneroo Business Association hosting so many over the course of a year. The one-to-ones, again, they come on the back of the networking events, or they could be introductions from existing clients, past clients, maybe one-to-ones that come in through online inquiries, etc. So I'll touch a little bit on that as well. And referral partners, I find this is really underestimated as a source for building your pipeline. So I'll touch on that as well. Again, I'm just going to highlight this as well, asking for the business. It's amazing the amount of conversations that do happen between business owners and even with salespeople that they don't actually ask for the introduction or ask for the business. It's actually quite sizable. So networking as a strategy. So again, a lot of us are involved in networking, whether it's District32, whether it's Wanneroo Business Association. But just a quick one on the chat there. Who has a strategy behind their networking? Just even type a Y for yes or an N for no. Well done, Dave, Claire. No surprise there. Anyone else? We have a shy audience. Yeah, very good. Cheers, Priscilla. Thanks for that. Angela, excellent. Yeah, brilliant. No, a couple of no's there. Okay, listen, geez, very good, very good. Geez, we have a very sharp audience here today, plenty of yeses. So predominantly what you'd find, particularly with business owners, they tend not to have maybe a sales background or a business development background, but we all know we should be networking. It's a great way of meeting people in a reasonably informal setting. So how do you prepare for a networking event? So a number of things. I always go with the intention of looking to give some value and possible introductions. So if you think about it logically, if you're in, say, for example, Wanneroo Business Association a period of time, you know a lot of the members there, you've crossed paths at networking events, you know their business, you should probably know who they're targeting, who their favorite clients are, who they want to deal with. So if you're going to your next work event, think, okay, well, I'm just looking at some of the names there. So we've, say, Dinesh. So Dinesh really brilliant accountancy firm. So you've had conversations with Dinesh. So okay, so Dinesh mentions he likes working with health professionals. He likes working with construction-related people. So do I know anyone of that ilk or that nature who I can introduce to Dinesh? So again, the beauty of preparing that type of stuff, it fast tracks trust really quickly because you're actually going out of your way for someone. It just fast tracks the whole trust issue very quickly. And again, a question I actually got asked a couple of days ago: how do you interact at events? Again, because it can be very daunting for people, that particularly early days, you've never done networking before, you don't know anyone in the room, and then even sometimes people who are experienced networkers actually said, "Oh, I'd be really nervous coming to an event. I do be in the car park preparing and stuff." So how do you interact at events? So I always think and it's brilliant from a sales point of view. If you kind of think, okay, I've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so the interaction should be of that proportion, more listening and less talking. So it's twofold reasons for that. So if I'm interacting with, say, I was going to say with Dave Clare, because I know Dave's not shy, so he won't mind me mentioning. I'm interacting with Dave, and I'd be keen on asking Dave questions about his business, who he's interacting with, what type of clients he likes working with, what projects he's got coming up. So that really paints the picture for me in terms of Dave's business. The question I personally always dread getting asked is, so Dean, tell me about District32. And the reason for that is because I'm so kind of focused on the information gathering, and there's 2 reasons for that. One reason is I'm looking to build trust really quickly, and I want to make those introductions as quickly as possible. So the more information I have, the better the quality of introductions I can do. And then secondly, I'm looking to build a relationship that's going to be long-term. So if I have all this knowledge about the industries and sectors that the individuals operate in, it makes it easier for me to ask for introductions down the line once that trust is established. And again, if it's appropriate an event, you can make connections on the spot in terms of make those introductions to those sectors or industries that are appropriate. What do you do after the event? And this is where the real work starts and the real thing. I mean, some suggestions. So connect on LinkedIn. So you think about the psychology of it. If you sent me a connection or vice versa on LinkedIn, we'll spend at least 15 seconds glancing at, oh, that's Dean I met at WBA today, and you'll see, oh, that's what he does. So again, it's a really good touch point, and it's a good way of nurturing a relationship. Again, we're all on various social media platforms, so check out people's business pages and stuff. The thing is, don't just do it once. Make sure you get involved, interact. It's another form of building that relationship. Again, I'm always keen at making introductions, and usually when I finish at an event, because I tend to take notes. If it's appropriate at an event, if it's a sit-down breakfast, as an example, I'll take notes as people are introducing their business. But at Sundowner, it's possibly not so. But after the event, I tend to spend at least 10 minutes writing up notes, just for reference, because you know yourself, we're busy, we move on the next day, and it's out of sight, out of mind. So it's good to have that reference. And I always, I'm sure most of you guys are using CRM system. So again, plug that information in there. Again, I've touched on it there, CRM touch points and strategy and building relationships. Again, what I'm trying to emphasize there is, I think if you're going to scale your business, it's a no-brainer. You need a CRM. It's a non-negotiable. And in terms of building relationships, if you met someone at a networking event, they mightn't necessarily be the client for you. But the thing is, they have a database, they have connections that could make those introductions that are appropriate to yourself. So when you're looking to build relationships, so you got to have to think about this as in, okay, the next 12 months, I've met John Smith in January at WBA, Sundowner. Nice guy, we had a good conversation. So how am I going to develop that conversation? You don't have time to ring him every week. You don't have time to have coffees every week. So you got to come up with ways of keeping that connection going. Again, networking is just such a brilliant strategy for lead generation. I've been doing it for a quarter of a century now, so I've shown my age. So it's always a great strategy. And the reason I like it is it's generally captive audience, number one, and number two, it's low cost. Unless you're joining a high-end corporate one, it's generally not expensive. So one-to-ones. So just a quick show there, yes or no. Who really enjoys one-to-ones in sales meetings? Brilliant, brilliant. A lot of positives. So I know most of you guys there are popping up. You're all very sociable, so it's not a surprise. So again with one-to-one. So let's take a situation where we'll say Lauren has contacted you and said, listen, John, I'm going to introduce Bill Smith to you. So what is the preparation involved in that, or how do you prepare? So a couple of pointers just to give you an example. So I'd always kind of research if I didn't know the individual in particular. So I'd look at website, social media. LinkedIn is brilliant. I'll tell you, like it's really interesting with LinkedIn as a talking point, getting that conversation going. I always know when someone's looked at my LinkedIn, because I've got a very unusual profession. And once they say, oh, I didn't realize you've done such and such, and oh, you've looked at my LinkedIn. So it's always good to do research that way as well. Industry articles as well. Again, some companies actually have blog posts on what's happening in their industry, and that might paint a picture of the direction they're going, or maybe the direction they need to go. And again, I'm always looking at bringing introductions to a meeting. If I'm meeting someone for the first time, I'll have done the research, I'll see where they're targeting. And again, what I'm trying to do really is fast track that trust factor. Obviously, I'm only giving introductions once I know they're credible and decent human beings as well. But if I can fast track the trust through introductions, it's a no-brainer. And and generally people are decent and they're morally upstanding, so they'll look to kind of return that favor fairly quickly, I find as well. So the meeting itself, I love the District32 tagline, and I have to say that it's the power of connection. Again, what you're looking at a meeting is just creating that rapport, particularly the first one. Again, I mean, stuff you can fall back on, hobbies, sport, what you do last weekend, what are you doing next weekend. Again, I'm sure from all your own experience, you'll find once a conversation starts, it tends to flow once you find that connection. So I love that. So I love that power of connection tagline. So again, I touched on this as well about the listening. It's just such a vital tool, an aspect of sales. Get the insights and gather the knowledge about who you're meeting, the circles they're moving in, where they want to be, their interaction, who they've worked with in the past, and all that good stuff. It just really paints the picture of for a couple of reasons. Number one, you might see some pain issues they have in their business where you can actually solve the problem directly. Or secondly, you might have an acquaintance or someone within your network who would add value to their business. But again, even painting the picture going forward for yourself for lead generation, you can kind of see the industries and sectors they're moving in, and it gives you some kind of put some meat on the bones for yourself in terms of lead generation. Again, it might be appropriate at a meeting. I always try and fast track introductions as quickly as possible. So, I mean, if I'm in the meeting and I can think of someone, I'll say, oh, listen, you've mentioned you're targeting the health sector. Listen, I know someone in that space, and I'll do the introduction fairly quickly. And again, the real work in terms of lead generation and all that good stuff starts afterwards. Again, I'm a big fan of note-taking and getting that information into your CRM as a reference. And again, I'm looking to make introductions as quickly as possible. But again, make sure you capture everything in your CRM. And it's similar to what we discussed on the networking. It's really important that you've got a system and a plan going forward to take advantage of that meeting as well. Okay, so I can do a breakout room, but we don't have the technology at the moment, so I'll move on from that. So what I was going to do is just to show how easy it is to kind of get those introductions. So I'll just share what I was going to do. I was going to give everyone 3 minutes, so pair you off in twos, and what you had to do was say who you are, what your name is, and mention 3 industries that you're looking to target. So I would be super confident that 8 times out of 10, the person in the room with you would say yes, they'll know something in that space. So it's just really to illustrate that if you're being proactive, you will get opportunities through your networking and one-to-ones for lead generation. Referral partners was the third one I was looking to touch on. So just type out a why, if you have referral partners for your business, just give me a quick Y or N for no, whichever is appropriate. So yes, if you Y for yes, if you have, N for no. Okay. Okay, just very good, very good. Okay, there seems to be a good mixture there of yes and no. So let me talk you through a wee bit of that. So why would you bother having referral partners? So again, if you think of someone who's targeting, so we see there, we've got a printing company online here today. So they'd be largely B2B, business to business. I see we've got an IT company on board today, so they would largely be B2B. So those 2 guys are sharing a similar target market, a similar sector. So again, wouldn't it make sense to leverage off each other's past work or existing client base? They're sharing similar target market. So it makes sense to leverage off that. It saves a lot of time. So I mean, if I was to set you a task today, okay, I want 40 leads in your pipeline by Friday week, that would be fairly daunting. Whereas sometimes maybe one meeting with the right referral partner can generate 5, 10, 15, 20, or if not more, introductions in quite a short period of time. So it saves time, and again, it's brilliant for your pipeline. If you go back to that original diagram, what we're looking to do, folks, here is push as much into that pipeline as possible, and then obviously we'll work on the nurturing as we go along. But initially, for lead generation, we need to get as much as possible into that pipeline. Again, the beauty of referral partners is stuff like joint ventures. Again, just to stick with the printer and the IT guy for a moment. So I mean, they could do a joint event whereby you say, okay, let's have a lunch on Friday. You invite 10 of your clients, I'll invite 10 of mine. There'd be maybe a wee bit of a presentation around what each does. But the beauty of that event is, I'm sure it'll be fairly relaxed, and each of them will walk away with 10 additional contacts to put into their pipeline. They've got some exposure on the day through a presentation, whether it be on IT or printing, and they've got the contacts and they've had a bit of interaction. So again, it's a really good way of fast tracking. And again, joint ventures can be stuff like sharing of content, if that's relevant. It could be through your newsletter or across social media. So referral partners are brilliant for that. Again, sometimes it's a challenge to come up with content, so it's good to lean on other people's as well. I'll just touch on those 2 bubbles there, the District32 one. So say last month, we kickstarted a referral group. So the month of April, you're kickstarting COVID-19 and all that negative stuff. We generated a 6-figure sum in lead generation that month. It's a very proactive group, but I mean, it's an impressive figure for 1 month. And then I was involved myself in the back end of 2019 in a group of 4, and we generated $500,000 in lead generation in those 8 months. So again, it's worthwhile. So Power 42 Mike Rich, I came across this a couple of years ago, and Mike Rich had done some research around networking groups, around sales, business development, and all that good stuff. So a couple of interesting things that he came up with was that if you could establish 9 referral partners, that would equate to potentially 42 powerful leads over a 12-month period. So folks, if you take your business and the value of a client, an average client, and kind of do the maths on that. So I mean, even if you had a low conversion rate of, let's say, 50%, even 21 clients, that is actually a substantial to your bottom line. So again, around referral partners or referral groups, you need mutual buy-in. Now, just to probably forewarn you, it's very easy to get mutual buy-in from people for referral partners. Yeah, it makes sense. But you need to have commitments per month. So generally, I would suggest it's 1 meeting a month. It's generally between half an hour and an hour. It's measurable. So I mean, when you meet up each month, okay, what happened? What have we given? What have we received? And you're giving feedback. Again, no one intentionally goes out of their way to give a good introduction. I mean, I've done them myself in the past, never intentionally. So it's good to get feedback. So kind of going forward, I'll know what I should and shouldn't give and all that good stuff. So again, well worth having a look at referral partners in terms of fast tracking that lead generation. And again, as I see the attendees online, a lot of them I know, I could see a lot of synergies just from the people we have here online today. So I just wanted to show this kind of bell curve around sales activity and business development. On the bottom there, what we have is time, and on the left, what we have is basically what we touched on, the three aspects today, kind of the networking, the one-to-ones, and kind of the referral partners. So ideally, we all want to be on that green line where we're building, and moving in that forward motion. Obviously, the red line we're all trying to avoid and move away from for obvious reasons. So generally, the way lead generation works, no matter what your activity is in a direct manner, is initially just some time, energy, and effort that you've got to invest to get that traction. So you can see that from the bell curve there, the green, you've actually dropped below the red there, which, okay, that would be fairly normal. If you think you even take one aspect like your networking, then what you're building, you're being consistent, as we mentioned earlier on, you're building that pipeline day in, day out, week in, week out. And what will happen is you'll get a sale, and then you'll find that it just kind of snowballs. Providing that you have that consistency, and providing you have that plan, and providing you have that system, it will go in an upward motion. Again, I mean, I've seen situations where, I mean, we've all gone, when we've gone into business, we get some early wins. It could be from past clients who dealt with us, we've done their graphic design, or if it's websites, an old client who enjoyed working with us. So we've got an early win. So business is up and running, we've got some early wins, could be family, friends buying our product or service. And then all of a sudden the nosedives. And the reason that kind of nosedives there, as you can see towards the red, is because activity is actually stopped. There is no plan, there is no system, and there is no strategies behind the direct contact for lead generation. So food for thought. So I suppose what we're trying to emphasize there is the more activity you have, the more consistency you have at kind of building that pipeline, the greater the results. And again, if you think the common sense of it, if you knock on 10 doors and you get one prospect, happy days. If you knock on 100, you could get 20, 25. So again, it's all about activity. But again, I appreciate the challenges for business owners who are owner-operated as well. But I suppose what I would suggest there is just put those times in your diary, lock them in so that activity gets done. So I'm going to touch on this slide very quickly because I've only illustrated three aspects of direct lead generation. So direct contact, so networking events, which we touched on and a lot of us are familiar with. Your database, again, have a look at your database. There's gold there in your database. I get referrals and introductions from ex-clients even, which is brilliant because I've maintained that relationship. So there's gold in that database. Again, super groups, again, that'd be a District32 thing. It's kind of basically referral groups, I suppose. One-to-one meetings we've touched on, referring existing clients. It'd be interesting to know, type Y if you've got a referral program for your business. It'd be interesting to see if many of you guys do. So Y if you have a referral program with your existing clients, and N for no. Very good, Robbie. Good stuff. Cheers. Okay. Yeah, a lot of no's, and I mean that's quite common. I mean, I take a look at District32. We've tried about 8 of them, and we failed badly at 7 of them before we had some success. But again, it's a really worthwhile exercise for getting referrals from your existing client base. So it doesn't have to be, it just says it doesn't have to be a dollar value. And again, dollar value tends not to work. Gifting actually works a lot better, and we learned that the hard way as well. Or it could be reciprocal introductions. But again, the beauty of looking at your existing clients, they know your product, they know your service, they know you're really good at what you do, you're a genuine, decent person. So again, it's asking for the business, as even if, say, listen, I'm targeting X industry or Y sector, is there anyone you can introduce me to? So again, it can be powerful if it's done, again, consistency and clarity on the program. But again, just to emphasize, it doesn't have to be a dollar value, and I probably wouldn't recommend a dollar value. Low barrier to product. Again, you think of people you've met through your networking through WBA or elsewhere. So a low barrier product, and that could either be something free or something low cost. So let me give a quick example. So an IT company in District32, he had software he was selling for $25 to back up your system. So he just put it on a District32 platform, and he had roughly about 25, 30 inquiries within 48 hours. So again, there's not much money in that for him, but what it does do is it opens the door for 25 to 30 companies where he can actually see, okay, well, your system, he can give advice then, there's well, you need to look at this. So he's actually developing, the doors opened, and it's just a low barrier project. Again, that could be something free. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dollar value either. Your extended network, again, look at your networks you're involved in. It doesn't have to be a formal even networking event. Sometimes it can be a sports organization or a charity or non-for-profit that you're involved in. Look at where there's value in your other networks as well. Referral partners we touched on today, again, well worth developing it, but make sure you have the guidelines in so it's a win-win. LinkedIn, again, I'm talking about the free version here. If you look at research we done, this is about 2 years ago, on average we've got 1,500 connections on LinkedIn. Some have more. So if you kind of think about it, when was the last time you touched base with your LinkedIn connections? A lot of them are probably kind of maybe a year, maybe 2 years. So again, have a look at that as a source for direct contact. Cold calling and warm calling. Again, I do a bit of cold calling, not in recent times, I'd have to admit, but it's industry trends tend to be around 0.5% the last time I looked. So again, I find it a really good way of initiating a relationship as a really good touch point. But again, there's so much other stuff you can do. It'd be kind of bottom of the ladder in terms of activity. I have to highlight again, folks, asking for the business, ask for those introductions. Do not be shy in asking, because you don't want it to be a social event. I mean, there's a business development and a sales aspect to what you do in your networking, your one-to-ones, and all those activities there. So definitely ask for the business. The key takeaway points I wanted just to get through for today in terms of lead generation. Direct contact is a brilliant way of creating lead generation. I mean, we've all had success. I know a few of the guys here online through your networking, your one-to-ones, through introductions and referral groups. And again, 85%, regardless of your industry or sector, 85% of your business is going to come from referrals, word of mouth. This isn't the time to obviously take your foot off the pedal. It's been a tough couple of months for many businesses. So again, you got to look at the lead generation, and that bell curve I mentioned, the activity is so vital. Keep up the activity, pick strategies, stick with them, use a CRM, have a system, and I guarantee you'll have success. So I'll hand back over to Lauren. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I was trying to get a lot of information through in 30 minutes, so hopefully that's okay.
That's all right, Dean. Thank you. I followed and understood what you were saying, so hopefully everyone else did too. But just picking up on what you're saying there about not taking your foot off the pedal, it can be hard, especially if people are working from home, they've not got the team or the colleagues around them. But if they can take 3 or 4 of the points that were on your previous slide and maybe work on them over the next few days or next few weeks, you will start to see some traction, and it's about ramping up and not stopping and giving up. So I guess, I don't know if you've got your contact details there, Dean. If anyone's got any questions, you can either contact Dean or myself. But if you'd like them answering now, just hit the Q&A button at the bottom and submit your questions through. There's a couple that are coming through at the moment. There's an interesting one. Should you formalise referral partner agreements, or should they just be informal relationships?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I have never formalised a referral partner agreement. Generally, you just get buy-in, whether it's with one person or there's a group of you involved. Just get initial commitment. Okay, we're going to meet once a month. Here's the aims and the goals of the group, and it's reviewed every month. Okay, did we all deliver on the aspects we did? I know some people do formalize it, but I've never felt the need to formalize it. I mean, if it's not going to work, it'll fall away fairly quickly. But if you got 2 or 3 committed people, it tends to work if there's commitment on both sides. So I don't see the need to formalize it. Would be my short answer.
Yeah, but I guess it's important kind of to monitor what's going both ways. If you're sending daily referrals somewhere and you're getting nothing back, then a conversation needs to happen, or you need to look elsewhere. Maybe they're not the right person.
Exactly.
Just one last question, guys. So if any of you had any others, make sure you put them through before we finish the session. But this one is about CRMs, and if there's one that you would recommend.
Well, say at District32 we're using Infusionsoft, but I've heard some really good stuff about HubSpot from a marketing point of view. So probably what I'd recommend, I wouldn't see myself as an expert on CRM systems. I've used a fair few, but reach out to someone who actually advises on them. Again, get one that's tailored to your own needs. I mean, there's some systems I wouldn't be a fan of, but I hear raving fans about it. But one that's come up a bit I've found with District32 members definitely over the last 2-3 weeks has been HubSpot. Has had some bouquets thrown at it, so it seems to be a good one. But again, have a conversation with someone who's either providing CRMs or has more in-depth knowledge. But yeah, and get one that suits your needs as well is really important.
Yeah, and make sure you work out what you want the CRM to do for your business as well, and work back from there. Dave's there just recommending Nimble, which works great with Microsoft Office. That comes to the end of the questions, unless anyone's got any other comments or questions they wanted to submit through before we finish. But I just wanted to thank you, Dean, for your time, for sharing your wisdom. A couple of people in the chat there saying thanks for your time as well. Hopefully we can see people reaching out, going through the database, connecting with old clients. It's a great time at the minute with an excuse just to call and see how they're doing, and start from there. So good luck everybody with your lead generation, and please let us know how it goes.
Cheers, folks. And feel free to reach out if you need clarity on any of the points I made today, or you didn't understand my English. Drop me an email. But thanks a million, and I hope you'll see you all soon anyway.
Thanks, Dean. Cheers, guys. We'll see you all next time.
Cheerio. Bye. Bye. Bye.